Hi, my name is Jonathan Hicks, and this evening I'm joined by
Mark.
And we've just finished playing 1846, which, if you're familiar at all with the 18XX series, is essentially a heavy train game. This is what our board looked like at the end of the game, and you can see there are lots of tracks that people have been building all over the board here, and effectively you're controlling different train companies. So here we've got the Erie Railroad, and you can have more than one. So this is the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad, and they start in certain places. So the yellow company, kind of starts on this position here. Blue, I can't remember exactly where they started. I think it may have been this one here. But they start in different places, and you have to kind of branch out from your starting place. So orange, for example, started up at the top here, and they were kind of branching out. As you build the route, you can potentially put more of these tokens down. You can see there's some orange ones here, an orange one over here in Chicago, and that allows you kind of extend your routes from other places. You have to sort of pay to do that. And there's quite a lot to this. So there's the building the railroads trying to expand, but the key thing is ultimately you're trying to make as much money as you can, and you need to separate your own personal money from the company's money. So to start with, you're buying shares in the company. You can see all these different shares in different companies, and whoever has the most shares in a particular company runs the company in the company phase. And you're trying to make as much money as you can by building your routes and running the trains. You can see there's different numbers on the various stations. That's how much money you're getting from running a train from one place to another, and you have different sizes of trains. So a 6 train, for example, will run between 6 stations. So you can kind of start off on the East Coast here in Cumberland, and you kind of go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe down to here for 6. So you then add up all the amounts of money on the different stations, and that's how much you're getting for running that particular train. So you run your company, and the company earns some money from the trains, and then you've got to decide what do you want to do with that. You either can invest it back into the company, in which case the company can spend more money to build more track. You've got to pay to build the track. If you're going over mountain spaces, for example, you've got to pay more. And also, you notice you've got different colours of track. You can upgrade the track. So to start with, you can only build yellow track. Over here, you can see we've got lots of different upgrade pieces. So you start with the basic pieces, and then it kind of goes yellow to green, and then to brown, and ultimately I think there are a couple of grey ones. And the sort of prices on the stations go up quite a bit. So you can see the yellow ones are quite cheap, but the green ones are more, you get more money for them, and it sort of goes up and up and up. So when it's your turn, if you're interested in terms of building the track, you can either build 2 bits of track, or you can do 1 bit of track and upgrade one. And so yellows would have to go up to green, and you have to find the matching one that meets. So it can be quite tricky sometimes planning out the appropriate route, how you're going to expand your company. But the alternative is, instead of paying money into the company, you can pay out. And all the shareholders, everyone who's got a share, earns a certain amount of money. Now, I will warn you, it's quite maths heavy, this game. You can see we've got this kind of share track here. Not only do the share prices go up and down, if you issue a dividend, the share price is going to go up, so the shareholders are happy. But if you're paying the money into the company, then the share price goes down. And then we use this one to track exactly how much money each of the companies are paying out to the shareholders when they issue the dividend. So it can be tricky because, you can see here, yellow was paying out 61 per share, and if you hold 7 shares in yellow, then you're trying to do 7 times 61 to work out how much money you've got. I think the game might come with paper money, but we use these sort of nice poker chips, which helps a lot in terms of tracking this. So you go through a number of rounds like this. There's one round where you sort of do the buying and selling the shares, and then you have a couple of rounds where everyone who has sort of controlling interest in the company gets to run the company, they build the track or upgrade the track, they run the trains, they get the money, and they decide, do they put it into the company or do they pay out dividends? Once the bank runs out, typically, once you run out of all the cash has been paid out, we add up, whoever has the most money wins. You sort of cash in all your shares, so whatever shares you've got are worth the value that they're at the end of the game. All right, what do we think?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, though. It is very, very maths-heavy, which doesn't bother me too much. As far as negative thing, it is actually fairly straightforward. It's just the working out the routes can be time-consuming, especially because other players can affect your routes, and that is probably the bit that takes the longest. And the other negative, I'll say, is you kind of have to sell shares in the company you control first. But you're like thinking, well, I might need to work out how much I'm going to get for the routes to be able to work out whether I need to sell like some shares to then be able to buy a train later. And so you're trying to kind of do it backwards first, and that slows it down. But if there was a way to make that easier, it's actually everything's relatively simple once you get past the maths. It's really good. It's very interactive because you do really care what everybody else is doing, especially when they start trying to buy like companies from under you, like, which is really important. You've got to watch. Oh, he's got a lot of money. He could just buy a load of shares in the company I control and take it control away from me. That whole idea, I really like that it's in other games of I might control the company, but that the money in the company is worthless to me in the long run. Yeah, it's really fun. I like trade. It's only the second one of these I play. I've tried other different trains, not the 18XX. I can't really compare it to the other variants of this, but this was neat, simple, worked really well. Just a lot of maths to take in.
Okay, rating?
For me, I would give it an 8.5. I really like it.
Yes, I've played a couple of different 18XX games, and I do like them in general. I think the thing it does for me is I don't really care how I do at the end of the game because I get wrapped up in building the company. And it's like, oh, I'll build the track here and I run the route. Oh, I've got lots of trains now, they're all running. And at the end, you kind of look at the board and go, yeah, I built that. You kind of got an empire. So it's very satisfying from that point of view. So I just enjoy the ride. It's long, I'll warn you of that. We were playing with 3 players. You can play with more, but obviously it does slow it down. You know, you could have potentially 7-8 hours worth of game. I think we took between 4 and 5 hours, including rules explanation, so it's not too bad. But do be prepared for that. It's long, and as Mark says, it is quite heavy on the math. You really want a calculator in one hand when you're doing a lot of the calculations. But as long as you don't mind that, I think it's a great game. Really enjoy it. And in terms of the other 18XX games, I think it's a bit more streamlined. It's a bit shorter than some of the others, so this is probably a good one to try first if you want to get into the genre, as it were. But yeah, just running a train company, I think it's a lot of fun. And I like the whole stocks and shares you're buying. As Mark says, you're looking a lot of the time what other people are doing. You know, if you've got 4 shares in a company and someone else has got 3, it's like they could buy 2 shares and suddenly steal the company off you. But it's my company, I built this from the ground up. So that's very nice. The tension's always there. I think I'd give it a 7.5 out of 10. All right, thanks for watching. That was 1846.